Assalamu alaikum. Hey guys, welcome back to my client spotlight series. And today we are joined by Amna. Amna was in my third round of Sacred Feminine Pleasure. So I wanted to interview her so that she could give her experience of being in the container with me for 8 weeks and other ladies. Okay, so Amna, I want to start straight away. I want to ask you, what made you join Sacred Feminine Pleasure? Like, what was the turning spot? What made you go from reading my posts, reading my content, to becoming to enrolling in the program? Like, what made you do that? What was the bridge?
I've been through depression and anxiety for a number of years, for almost ever since I was 16 years old, and I've had many therapists, many counselors. So I wasn't new to all of this, and I read one of your posts. It was about the daddy wound. And I was just like, so before that, I didn't know who you were. I didn't know that Rosary even existed. Like, alhamdulillah, an angel from Allah. Seriously, and I read that, and then I was like, wow! I just instantly clicked, and then I remember, I still remember, it was an hour just going through your Instagram. I felt like a stalker, literally, like just reading, and I was like, how did I know? How didn't I know? So then I inquired about Sacred Feminine Pleasure, and I didn't have any funds, because I don't work, and so I don't have any savings, literally, and of my own. And I remember talking to you, and the early bird discount was expiring, and I said, oh, please, can you give me a chance and stuff? And and I was like, I don't have the money yet, inshallah. And I said to you, inshallah, pray for a miracle. And you're like, Amna, but what if the miracle has already happened? What if Allah wanted you to find me? And I was like, and it clicked. And I was like, you know what? What were the odds of me finding you if Allah didn't want me to have this opportunity? So then I actually asked my parents, and then they gave me the money, and I did Sacred Feminine Pleasure.
Oh my gosh. Guys, Amna, first of all, I want to say Jazakallah, thank you for being so resourceful. That I know, just like from what you said, like you knew, you were convicted that this program is gonna help you. And I love that you had that conviction to the point that you were able to ask your parents. Like, a lot of people, I know, like, they think, okay, I've got no money, I don't have the physical money in my account, I'm not gonna ask anyone. But the fact that you asked your parents, that is like, that's a real flex. I'm telling you now, that's a real flex, mashallah. Okay, so my next question is, like, how much of a hot mess were you? I just want you to get real with everyone. Be comfortable to share what you want, but I want people to understand where you were before. So how much of a hot mess were you before you joined Sacred Feminine Pleasure? Like, what was going on in your life? And feel free to share whatever you want.
Sure. So just before Sacred Feminine Pleasure, like I said, I had a counselor. I had her for about a year and a half. I had therapy as well, from Rapid Transformational Therapy. But I was severely depressed, and the reason why is because under hypnosis, she uncovered a memory, and she never helped me clear that memory out. And that memory was haunting me. I'd get nightmares. I became really depressed to a point that and I felt like at that, but you know what? On hindsight, I realized that now Allah wants to put me at I was at my all-time low, like really, really low. Even my health issues, I still have, I have them now. Like, but I'm alhamdulillah, I'm recovering. But I was really, really, really down. And previously, because I've had postnatal depression as well, I have obviously we'll never do suicide because we have our faith, but I have had that point, like, I just can't go on. It just felt too much. And then when I was at this depression, and then the worst, I think the worst thing for me is, like, when you're depressed and you have a counselor and stuff, it feels worse because you're like, I'm investing in myself and it's not working. And so I would obviously I'd pay this counselor, and but it made me really, it made me depressed. I had low self-esteem. I thought there was something wrong with me, like I was destined to fail, because even though I'm investing in myself, like I'm doing that, I was reading self-help books, you know, investing in counselling and therapy, and like doing all the, you know, ticking all the boxes, but it wasn't working. And so yeah, I was in a very bad way, very, very bad way.
Wow. And I'm so glad that you mentioned about hypnosis. This is why hypnosis is very important. You go to someone who is very like rapid transformation therapy is, I'm sure, is amazing. But the issue is that when people don't know how to deal with memories, because when you think about it, trauma comes from a memory, because you're not living in the trauma right now, but that memory creates the depression, creates anxiety. So it's very important to clear. This is why we do abundance rewiring, that 3-step process. You delete the memory, then you purge the shame, because when you have a memory in your mind and you see it, it triggers feelings. And because we don't have emotional tools, we were never given them as a child, the emotional tools to help you go through that feeling. All we do is to start getting triggered, and everything triggers us. And then, just like you said, you had nightmares because the feeling was still stored in your body. And this is why you have to purge that shame. And then you have to quantum ascend. You have to quantum leap to the version of yourself that's not depressed, that's not anxious. So that 3-step process, I've noticed, is very powerful. Like, it really helps people to get breakthroughs in like 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So I want you to share what was the key shifts that you had? What was the biggest transformations you had, or even the smallest transformations you had during the 8-week container?
I think for me, the biggest one was I used to be an avid people pleaser, and I used to get in that rut because I used to people please a lot, and they would let me down. And so then, like, I was in this kind of vicious circle, and I'd be like, oh no, there's something wrong with me. I should people please even more. And then I'll people please even more. But then they were like, I've had people say to me, my face, that we don't like you. I've had people, like, you know, block me on Instagram without, like, no explanation, like, you know, like they 1 minute they're saying, oh, I love you and you're so nice and stuff, and then they'll block you and they won't give you an explanation. And that used to really hurt me. And then I realized, no, you know, and when I got to the bottom of why I used to people please and stuff, and now I don't feel the need to people please. If you don't like me, that's fair enough. You know, have a good day. And you know, sort of like, this is the most empowering feeling. Like, you know, and I would say, like, it, like, when you stop seeking validation from other people, you start living life, and that is amazing, I think. Yeah.
Like, guys, I know this, for me, this, like, literally, like, I feel like a little child again, because when I hear something, especially as women we are professional people pleasers. We're so good at it, we don't even recognize that we're doing it. Just like you mentioned something very key here, I thought it was me, so I did it more. This is crazy. This is how we're programmed to believe that, especially when you have that belief that I'm not good enough. And you will see people reacting to you, like someone blocking you on Facebook, as, oh my God, there's something wrong with me, let me go on people please even more. When really, when you're empowered and you're confident, you'll be like, that seems like a them problem. It's not my problem. I'm just going to carry on my life because it doesn't matter anymore. And this is so powerful. And this is why I always say, in the sake of fun and pleasure, take your power back. Like, right now in your life, there may be so many people who are disempowering you simply by you thinking of them. They're not even thinking of you, but you're thinking of them, and you're holding that grudge, and you're feeling that resentment in your body, and it's shutting you down. It's not allowing you to experience abundance, not allowing you to receive opportunities. So oh God, I love the fact that you mentioned that. It makes me so excited hearing that from you, Amna. And I also want to mention that, Amna, that while you're in the container, like, mashallah, having you in the container, you're such a light. Along about it, you're so playful, Amna. And I think we realized that towards the end of the Fun and Pleasure, that how playful you are. And I just love the fact that you are willing to be coached. I want you to realize as well that the main reason why you were able to get these specific results is because you were willing to be coached. You're willing to do the work, you are willing to be coached, and you are willing to be vulnerable in the group setting. And you did that so wonderfully, beautifully as well. So many women learned. I believe, like, a lot of the women in the group learned so much from you too, Amna, because just the way you showed up, like, I'm just going to be myself, and I don't care how people take me, I'm just going to be me. And I think for you, that's like the biggest breakthrough, mashallah.
Yeah,
alhamdulillah. Okay, so how was your experience of Abundance Rewiring?
It was amazing. Like I'm just trying to think back to the first one. Like week by week, it just got better and better and better. And I think it's like because your mind knows what to do, and like before, yeah. So with the work initially, I remember being a bit, oh, I'm not feeling anything because I think, and yeah, it's because when I initially started, because you feel so numb because you've been in this fight or flight survival mode for so many years, and you feel disconnected to your own self. And then towards the end, mashallah, when we did especially the religious one and the health one, like as well, like like it was like having an outer body experience, and like like, and it was like nothing like I've ever experienced before, and really like connecting with my own yourself and connecting with Allah, and like really like, and I now understand, like people meditate in the caves and stuff, and like really like, because that is our we were sent on earth to be human beings, and not like human doings, rushing around and like so disconnected with ourselves. Like we sometimes forget to eat, sometimes we don't even know who we are. And that's what I loved about the abundance, especially towards like each week it just get better and better, because it's like the layers were just peeling and the numbness was just going, and we were allowed to feel, and like there's actually an organ inside of us, like our heart, which is beating. Like before it was just like it felt like it was dead, like I couldn't even feel like anything anymore.
Oh, oh, girl. Oh my God, I'm so glad that you mentioned that, because I don't think people realize what abundance rewiring really is. It's like a form of relaxation, right? And the fact that you said that, like, you finally feel again, and all of you ladies who joined Sacred Prime Pleasure, I know there's a part of you that you are all numbing out, just trying to survive. And this is what happens when you're in survival mode. All you're thinking about is, how can I survive? How can I avoid something dangerous? How can I avoid failing? Because failing feels like death. Opportunity feels like death. Abundance feels like death. So all you guys are doing is just suppressing yourself and numbing yourself out to the world. And it's not, and this is why I always say that it's not your environment that's triggering you. You are triggering yourself, and your environment is simply reflecting that, right? So when we're in this state of numbness, and then someone says, oh, you haven't done enough, that just triggers us. We feel something. We don't know what the feeling is, but it feels like something. It feels dangerous. Let me just react to it.
You're
right?
totally right. Let me tell you, it's funny now, but at the time, so my husband, or I'm of a messy nature, right? And so my husband used to always get annoyed and stuff, and he's like, and he used to just say to me, and I used to feel like he was attacking me, and I was like, you don't know how much I do. And he goes, but I was just saying to you, there's a little bit of mess there. Why do you always have to go on a lecture that I'm doing so much? And then when I stepped back and I realized, I was like, it's because at that moment I was, because in my head, like I was doing so much, and I was like, I'm doing so much, but he's still noticing some mess, and it was just like and I literally felt like he threw a bomb at me, and I'd explode, and then he's like, why do you always do that? And now I'm like, oh yeah, why do I do that?
So why? It's like literally when someone criticizes us, in our mind, it's like we're running away from a tiger. Like run, like our cortisol, our adrenaline levels, we're just running. And it's like, don't attack me, just like so mad. But it's like when you get to feel again, and you just, like you mentioned, your heart. Oh my gosh, getting connected to your heart is so important. And this is, I believe, why Abundance Rewiring is so powerful, because I don't just focus on your mind, I focus on your heart too. Like you have to feel through the pain. I know you, Amna, you cried a lot through the Abundance Rewiring, because you have to feel that grief. You have to grieve in order to shed that identity, the layer that you put on yourself, the layer of numbness that you put. You have to cry to thaw yourself out. It's like you're frozen. So you have to thaw yourself out by crying. So the more you cry, and we cry like every week. I was crying.
I did.
When I was crying, we were crying every week, and it's so beautiful. Like crying is so beautiful, especially as women. This is how we connect, and I love that we were able to have that harmony in the group. It was just so beautiful to witness, mashallah. And that reminds me, actually, I want to ask you the question: what was it like to really heal in a group setting? Because I know a lot of us women, we feel like, oh, I don't want to share, I don't want to overshare, I don't want people to know me. So what was it like being in the group container and just healing with other women?
Did you know, it's interesting you say that, because a few years ago, I would have never, ever done this. Like, when I was in school, I was this shy, timid girl that just did not speak out. Like, you won't believe it. Like, I just wouldn't speak out. And like, and in every single report, my teachers would be like, oh, she's a very shy girl who doesn't contribute in class. And like now, and just now, and I think, honestly, because I've done one-to-one healing, and I think group settings are absolutely amazing. And you come together with other women and their past, and everybody brings something to the table, and you learn from everybody, and you heal together, and like and like people from, and it's, it's amazing. It's like a miracle. It's like people from all over the world. We're all different, but in reality, we're all the same. Like, we all have the same yearning to be loved, and and to heal, and just so, and I've learned a lot from my fellow sisters. I have, and I pray that Allah just blesses with all of them with health and happiness, and it was just so nice. And yeah, I didn't think it would be as nice as it was, and just that bond, we've created that bond, and it just goes to show that why is loneliness the biggest killer? Because I felt really lonely, like, for so many years. I've moved up and down the country, so I've never actually made any like proper friends, and like, and even if you do, like, they don't really understand you to that level. But because we saw each other like in our most vulnerable state, I think, and it's just created that lifelong bond.
Oh my gosh, thank you for saying that, Amna. And thank you for really putting that out there, because I know for us women, like, showing our most vulnerable parts is scary, especially when you've been in masculine for so long. And like, just like you mentioned, we're all lonely. Like, us women, we create the village. It's us that bring the village together. It's us that we heal by talking. It's like men heal by doing. We heal by talking and connecting and building that relationship and building that bond. And I really, like, in this container, I really felt that sisterhood. Like, Masha, in all the container, I feel the sisterhood. And this container, it was just so powerful. I guess the energies I was in this container, all of you ladies who are willing just to show up and just get things done and like be willing to talk. I think the biggest one is like be willing to talk about it. Like, in this container, I remember there were so many questions about family. How do I heal my family dynamics? How do I get over like something with my husband or my sister or my mother? Like, there's so many questions around family dynamics, and I feel that that's what created that deeper sense of bonding. Like, we're all in this together, right?
Yeah.
Women who together, thrive together. Like,
Yeah.
mashallah, it's so powerful to see. And I think this is one of the biggest empowering moments, I guess, in the healing community, is when you feel safe to do it. It's very important, like, feeling safe to be in a container in a group setting where everyone's getting to hear each other's voices, and we all know each other, maybe offline as well. Like, you feel safe in that community. That's so powerful.
Because if you think about like what got us into this kind of place, like when you're bullied and stuff and you feel like the black sheep, you just always feel like, oh, it's only me, I'm only going through this. But when you hear the stories of what other people, you're like, yeah, I'm not alone, I'm not the weirdo, the black sheep that everyone used to kind of, like bully. So like there's nothing wrong with me, it's just it's an experience I went through. And I'm actually, it sounds really weird, but I'm actually really grateful for everything I've been through, because it's made me the person who I am today.
I could scream. I could scream. Oh, Amna, yes, great. Oh, girl, this is so powerful. I just want to let you know you've healed, Amna. You've healed now. You're fine. That you're saying that, like, I'm so grateful for what I've gone through, because it's made you so much more colorful, Amna. Like, that's like I mentioned, you're such a big personality. Like, it's just added so much more depth to your soul. And I know a lot of people think, okay, trauma, yes, of course it was painful. Well, whatever you've gone through in your life has been painful. But the fact that you can look at it from a different perspective, like, I'm so glad I went through that. I'm so glad now I have more compassion. I understand people better. I get people now. I don't see it as a personal attack. I see it as like they're a wounded child and they need some love. That's it. That's so powerful. I genuinely, I think that's so powerful. That's a very powerful position to be in as a woman. Mashallah. Okay, so I want to ask you one final question. What would you say to a woman who's like you, who just come across me maybe, or she's been following me for a while, and she's thinking of signing up for Sacred Feminine Pleasure, but she's worried either that she won't have enough money or she's worried that she won't get the result? What would you say to her?
I can understand people being worried about money because I'm in, and I was in the same position. Obviously, I don't earn, and so I can understand. But what I would say is that what you pay and what you get, the value of what you get is, if you think about the cost, it's like you're paying pennies because it's priceless. Your course is priceless. And when you invest in yourself, and alhamdulillah, you know what, I'm really glad because we go for that retail therapy. I used to love retail therapy as kind of like an outlet to my, depression and stuff. And but it would never, ever, it temporarily gave me that high, but it never like, it's not satisfying because it's not, but what you get is lifelong. It changes your whole perspective. And I had been through a lot since I was a child, and I always used to think I was this weirdo, and I used to think I was a failure and all of that stuff. And so what I've got from this and from what I've paid is priceless. There's no price tag on it. You can't put a price on it.
Oh, I love that. There's no price for peace.
Yeah, definitely.
Really, there's no price. I know like there's so many women out there who are in this battle. Like maybe you feel stuck in a rut, maybe you feel like you're battling something, maybe you've done like just like you Amna, you went to counseling, you've had hypnotherapy, and it's like it's not gone to the layer deep enough to help you get the results you want. And like one promise I can make is I'm gonna give you my best. I'm gonna give you my all. This is my goal in life is to give you my all. And I know in all the work I do and all the group programs I've had, I always want to give my best. So just know as well, like to anyone listening to this, someone watching this, that I didn't pay Amna to say this. Number one, she hasn't got paid by me. She invested in Sacred Feminine Pleasure, even when she felt scared. And I'm going to give you my best. Like, I really want you to heal. I want you to believe that it doesn't take years upon years to heal from trauma. It doesn't. It can take as little as 8 weeks, as long as you've got the right coach and the right container and the right method to help you get that result. So yeah, Amna, thank you so much for
You're welcome.
Yeah.
I was going to say I can vouch for that, because I've like I said, because I've been through so many people and they keep you hanging and they say, oh, you need more and you need more. And they kind of have this inferior and superior kind of relationship. Like, I'm your coach and like I say you need more lessons, or I'm your counselor and I see you need more lessons. And like, but you from day one, you said that first of all, you said I'm healing with you guys. And you were like there and on such an approachable level, and like, it's like there was no inferiority and superiority, and that was the best thing about you. And like, yeah, I like Rosie did pay me to say this. I honestly hand on my heart, like alhamdulillah, like Rosalie is amazing. It's so good.
Oh, thank you. And guys, I was like doing like a little celebrate. The reason why I was celebrating, because just like you said, there's no hierarchy. Guys, like, you know why there's a lot of programs like I'm gonna be like straight up, like the reason why there's like programs I enroll in is because the coach doesn't want to give you your power back. That's literally what it is. I didn't want to hand you here's your power, take it. I don't want it. And I remember we did that. I don't think I was in this group where I did like a video where I was like, take your power back from me. I'm not here. You don't need me. That's not what you're here for. You're here to need yourself and figure out what you need. I'm just going to guide you through it. That's it. And I'm going to heal with you, because we're all healing. All of us are healing all the time. I remember in week 4, I was talking about my husband, right? And I had like a massive argument with him. And it's always week 4. In every container, week 4 is like catastrophic for me for some reason, because even I'm up leveling with you guys, and I like sharing that with you to show you that I'm a human being too. Like, I don't have all the answers. I'm not perfect. I don't want to be perfect. So yeah, thank you for sharing that. There is no hierarchy, guys, when you work with me. We are on the same level. We are all healing together. Amna, this was amazing. Thank you so much for sharing your experience. And I pray for you back in the next round, inshallah. If it's
Yeah.
a good thing Allah wants you, Allah wants it to happen for you. I mean,
Yeah, inshallah, yeah.
thank you, darling.
Thank you. Jazakallah khair.